Malaysia Green Building Council, also known as Malaysia GBC, is an organization that promotes green building programs, technologies, and design practices, aims to make Malaysia an eco-friendly and sustainability place on Earth. Malaysia GBC was founded in May 2009 by a group of passionate building consultants, academia, and representatives. Even since Malaysia's building has increased, the efficiency of resources used in each building was built with green in mind. Malaysia GBC is also supported and associated with most of the top industry institutions. In the year 2015, Malaysia GBC became an established member of the World Green Building Council and known to be the only organization in Malaysia to be supported by the World GBC. Malaysia GBC continues to be the platform that networks, promotes, educates, and most importantly, develops the sustainable, built into the land of Malaysia. With much more passionate industry professionals, we can make Malaysia a greener and better place on Earth.
Hello, everybody. We are back. Welcome to the third series of Cross is Cross, the midday show about raising awareness of the need to reduce energy consumption and promote sustainable energy use. Finding ways to avoid energy waste, electricity, gas, water is critical in the fight against climate change as it contributes to emitting less carbon and methane into the atmosphere. With respect to advancing the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which are the SDG 7 is about ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all, and sustainable. And the SDG 8 is about decent work and economic growth. Where this series, we will take this dialogue coinciding with World Energy Efficiency Day. Also explore whether renewable energy can truly drive a circular economy. I'm your host, Stephen Poon. Good afternoon to all the audience tuning in. Yes, I'm back. Yes, we are in here now. The Cross is Cross Series 3 is brought to you by Academic and Research Standing Committee from Malaysian Green Building Council, MGBC, in collaboration with Solar Energy Research Institute from the National University of Malaysia, UKM, supported by Mila University. Our first guest for today's show in 2025, Asma Amani, Communities of Practice Chair, Leaning Equity and Sustainability from Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. For those of you who don't know, Algerian by birth and United Arab Emirates by choice. She is a global energy leader for driving sustainability and innovation. Subsequently, she is an accomplished leader with over 20 years of experience in energy sector, currently heading the MENA region, which is Middle East and North Africa, for a leading data engineering company. With a strong focus on performance optimization, operational efficiency, and sustainability, she drives solutions that reduce costs and cut CO2 emissions, supporting global efforts toward a greener future. Asma's extensive international experience has honed her expertise in the stakeholder management and navigating complex cross-cultural landscapes. She's passionate about integrating green energy and circular economy principles into business practices, fostering innovation and transforming infrastructure to meet future energy demands. A passionate advocate for innovation, Asma combines her technical knowledge with a global perspective to inspire actionable change. Luckily, today, Asma is on hand to give us a quick lowdown on the topic: circular energy market dynamics, rethinking renewables, infrastructure, and innovation. So her dynamic insight make her an ideal voice for the World Energy Efficiency Day live podcast today, offering fresh perspective on the building a sustainable future. So please welcome Asma Amani.
Thank you.
Hello, Asma. Good afternoon from Malaysia. Still good morning to you in Abu Dhabi, UAE. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much for inviting me, and very honored to be the first speaker for 2025.
Yeah, well, just this thing just happened, and of course, thankfully, we found you, of course, through some of the acquaintance, so which is good, and you also agree upon that. So yeah, I'm thankful that you are with us today, particular in the fasting month. So yeah, let tell us about okay, so how's your experience in the beginning of this fasting month?
It's I think it's really good this time. I used to drink a lot of coffee, and I drink coffee because I socialize a lot. So this is how. So I
All
started
right.
this time.
Yeah, now we
Yeah.
love coffee. I like that kind of feeling. Get caffeinated, actually.
Exactly. So what I did is 2 weeks before Ramadan start, I started to reduce my caffeine intake. So I had a good start. And this morning, I mean, I had suhoor in the morning, and I'm still awake since then. And I had a double espresso. So I am all awake and ready for our conversation.
Okay, great. I think you know that because of the fasting, and then we need to look at the moon. You know, when is it in? When is it out? Yeah, you have to wait for the prayer, and then after that, then we stop eating, and then begin eating. All these kind of practices. So I think the time will be inverted from the way how we used to live our daily routine. So in terms of that, I think is all this kind of energy usage will be slightly different as well. So would you like to tell us more about how the things happen, which is in your in your country, which is the place where you come from? How's the energy usage at this point of time? Is it slightly different? Is it more cost, or is it how actually? Would you like to talk about this, please?
Oh, okay, interesting. It is supposed to be it is supposed to be a month where you reflect a lot on your habits. You try to go for the good ones and reduce the bad ones. But I think Ramadan is also all about socializing, especially between families. So there will be an extended evenings after iftar, and then going to the mosque for prayer. So people will come together. So unfortunately for the energy, it will be high consumption. But I think it's also for me it's a month where you do a lot of self-reflection, and energy consumption is part of the practices of our religion. Yeah, is to save and not to waste, whether it's energy, food, words, anything. Yeah, so it's about being responsible. So this is the core of the religion, and this is and Ramadan month is an opportunity for everybody to practice that. Yeah.
Do you think it costs more than how it used to be? I mean, in terms of energy usage. I mean, this is just a silly question, probably, because we are in Malaysia. We're also having a fasting month over here as well. So, of course, the perspective will be slightly different from UAE. So, I'm not sure about from your because entire nation, probably 90% over is Muslim. So I think the energy consumption is way different from the place where I hear actually in Malaysia. So I'm not sure whether this is the good reflection to look at the energy usage, especially is it really cost more during the Ramadan? I'm not sure about what is the situation over there.
Yeah, people will stay awake sometimes all the way until the sun, and then they go to bed. So, but I don't like to speculate. I am an engineer, but I have an engineering background, so we need to look the data. Yeah, so we have to proper assessment, and then we come up with an answer based on data. Yeah, so. But my impression is more energy.
Yeah, good. I mean, this is just I just wondering what is the difference between the two regions and about all this energy consumption, because it costs, because the cost can be affect the entire, which is nation spending, because this is not just only a few people, it's like millions of people doing that, using it, and all, because of the daily routine is slightly different from the way how you used to be. But I think this is a really good topic, and also this is the topic we're going to tap into that for today podcast. Okay, Asma, let's set the scene. Okay, before we get into the dialogue. Right. Over the past half century, scientists from many different areas have been investigating how to switch to renewable energy, especially in the context of circular economy. The challenges of the integrating renewable energy technology within a circular economy include financial constraints, such as a high initial investment, the lack of an adequate regulatory framework, and government support. The intermittent availability of renewable energy sources, the scarcity of resources and components for renewable energy generation technologies, relatively low energy conversion efficiency, the challenge of the increasing consumer awareness, and also the environmental impact of technological waste. So, Asma, what is the structure of the knowledge synthesis arising from the application of the renewable energy in the context of the circular economy, and also in the management and economics disciplines?
Thank you for the question. I think renewable energy is still at the beginning, but we can see positive trend. Yeah, I would say that the approach and how we look at the renewable energy within the circular economy needs to be 360-degree view. So we have to look how the interdisciplinary framework integrates. Yeah, so we need to look at it from a management perspective. Organizational strategies, are they built to make sure or to facilitate the integration of renewable energy within their business model? Leadership, do they walk the talk? And then also, are we engaging, like you mentioned, are we engaging all the stakeholders? Very, very important, engaging stakeholders. And I guess we will go deeper into this aspect later on. And then you cannot build a case for renewable energy within the circular economy if you don't have a solid business case. Yeah, so economics. Yeah, so is there incentive? There is a financial viability, market needs, and market design as well. Very important is the consumer trend. Yeah, do they really look after renewable? Do they care about that, or is just a cheaper energy and that's it? And then after this interdisciplinary framework, we need to also have a full system thinking. Yeah, so how do we implement within this interdisciplinary framework? Very important also is the life cycle approach. So from when we start, we need to do a proper assessment. So there are a lot of companies who does that, and then they are actually improving with time. With different solutions on how to assess properly from the beginning till the end. And again, this assessment needs to be in a commercial model, so cost-benefit analysis. So
well,
again,
I think, Asma, I think when you talk about assessment, they must be facing many types of the challenges along the way. So in your many years of practices on also your involvement, what are the primary challenges and barriers to the implementation of renewable energy in accordance with the principles of a circular economy?
Well, a lot of people think it's only a matter of technology. If we have the right technology, then everything will work fine. But it's not that simple. So there are a lot of aspects. We spoke about stakeholders, and when we talk about stakeholders, is government, institution, companies, the intake of who is taking this energy coming from the renewable. So do we have policies in place? Do these policies help companies advocating for renewable energy to thrive? This is very important. Again, of course, it's about technology infrastructure, but it's not only technology related to the renewable energy itself, but it's all the ecosystem around it. Yeah, how do you get the material? How you dispose of it? So this is very important also to ensure and to monitor that. Yeah, so for future improvement. And last but not least is cultural and behavior.
Yeah, exactly.
So for example, Europe compared to Middle East, compared to Asia, we have different approach. Yeah, it cannot be the same, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, just now you mentioned about Europe. I think I have some findings here. The new renewable energy sector has achieved impressive growth in recent years. Since you mentioned about Europe, in Europe they have generating some 40% of the electricity in 2022. I'm referring to the European continent. So there is also encouraging progress internationally as a leading the continent look to the to reach net zero. But this achievement is storing up problems. Proliferation of solar panels, wind turbines, batteries, and the other renewable technologies is placing pressure on the environment through the unsustainable extraction of the raw materials and the absence of the planning and design for end of life. So moving to a circular economy model has the potential to address this risk. It is also a huge economic opportunity, ripe for innovation with new products and services. Circular model is also more efficient, driving down costs, often with a fewer supply chain risks. So, in your point of view, will we manage to switch the classic energy to renewable energy sources to slow down the global warming process?
It's a very actually complicated question, but I will share my opinion. Yeah, my humble opinion here. I think switching from fossil fuel to renewable energy is not a realistic, at least for the time being, is not a realistic. So we're not talking anymore about energy transition. We are talking about energy mix, which means that you will, for a certain period of time, you will have to live with fossil fuel and with renewable. And therefore, we have to approach this situation from let's say a strategic point of view. Is our objective renewable energy, or is our objective to reduce the footprint of any technology on the environment and to preserve the future for our future generations? So I think this is what we are looking for. And therefore, we have to be also realistic. The demand for energy is increasing. Be it population-wise, be it technology. Yeah, we have a lot of developing countries, especially in Asia. The economy is booming, which means the demand for energy will increase. You cannot tackle these demands only with fossil fuel, and not only, of course, with renewable, but it can be both. And there is the McKinsey research actually showing that there will be an increase in fossil fuel energy and in renewable energy to address those needs. But the growth of renewable energy will be higher than fossil fuel. Until then, we have to pay attention also to fossil fuel and make sure that they are the least, let's say, or their footprint is the least possible. For this, there are a lot of technologies that are renewable. So when we talk about hydrogen, so except the green hydrogen, so you have the blue hydrogen, the turquoise hydrogen, is based on fossil fuel. And I am a big advocate of turquoise hydrogen because it has zero CO2 emission directly, and it converts fossil fuel into solid carbon that you can recycle in agriculture. So you will use less irrigation water. So you see, this is also, again, a circular economy. And you will have hydrogen. And this is just cracking methane, so CH4, through pyrolysis. But this is at an early stage, very early stage, which means you need to have investment there.
Yeah, it's true. Actually, in Malaysia over here, right, we have a strong emphasis from the government, which is they have strong emphasis on the hydrogen usage, and also we are entering to the hydrogen economy as well. So, so I think there's a strong emphasis, but still we need to build on the foundation, and also in terms of infrastructure. How can we get into that? But not just the hydrogen itself, but there's many things involving in terms of employability, economy, which is what is the contribution to the GDP growth, or all these kind of things. So I think but this is a good point you have just made, and also just reminding me we are working very hard on this as well over this part of work. So it sounds to me just now you mentioned about this is just a concept. It's just not really so-called. It's not really feasible for now. It's not really feasible for all this switch. So it's just a concept. Am I right? So do you think this concept really work? And also, how should the concept of sustainable pro-ecological development according to the circular economy develop in the 21st century, especially nowadays?
Well, I mean, it's not really a concept. We have already proven projects all over the globe. So, and by the way, the biggest investors in renewable energy are operators. So oil and gas.
You know what? The reason why I was asking you, because you were just mentioned that because this, which is a drastic change switch, is impossible for now. So probably yes, you are right, and we need gradually to do this. So how long it's going to take? I think this is what we concern here, which is it going to take 20 years, 50 years, is it 100 years to fully achieve so-called totally switch in terms of this understanding of the renewable energy? So I think so that there was a reason why I was mentioned about was it just a concept? Is it just like we are trying out, see whether this will work? So what is your point of view?
Yeah, I again, I don't think it's a concept. It is working. It is not work. It's not the same solution. So it's not one size fits all. So we have also to adapt. We have to open the door for different technologies. I mean, a lot of technologies are out there waiting for financing, but because there is no support for financing, because it's too risky, because they are too early. It's RTL 2 or 3, which is not very attractive for investment. Then they are not developing. So I think it is promising. We have a lot in the pipeline in terms of technologies, motivation, people willing to make the change. We just need to guide them. And guiding is where you get the stakeholder engaged, along with policies in place to give them the first push. Yeah, so it's like a pendulum. First, you need to give it a push, make sure that the environment is friction-free, and then it will spin. It will, oscillate for forever. So that's what we need.
Okay, Asma, you just mentioned about technological application. So you emphasize a lot of technology. So let's look at the current innovation ecosystem. So the current innovation ecosystem also gives rise to the probability that startups may be developing ideas in isolation, potentially unaware of synergies with other stakeholders, and unable to benefit from the wisdom of the collective intelligence. So how can sustainable innovation be galvanized and supported to successfully meet the challenges of today?
Well, I think United Arab Emirates is a great example of how you take care of startups, of early stage innovations in terms of renewables in general. Yeah, so or let's say clean energy sources. Here they provide incubators, so where they support those startups in terms of support, finance, place where to come together, networks. They facilitate also a lot of finance, although sometimes they don't finance by themselves, but they provide the environment for connecting with the right financing institution. They even create companies just to focus on that, to accelerate that. So they're really leading by examples, and this is something to admire from the leadership of the country. So again, funding is very important, but policies also, because I was in my previous position, one branch of my company was focusing on turquoise hydrogen, and turquoise hydrogen is very early. It was coming from a university of Montana Universität in Austria, and okay, it's promising, but it's not there yet. So how much do you need? It's hundreds of millions to finalize a prototype and to test it. But then you need to make a business case. You cannot make a business case because it's a lot of investment beforehand. So how the question would be how to support such projects. It's to make sure that they get access to money, and then that the reward for such technology comes later. So this is very important.
Okay, Asma, let's continue with this. Under which conditions are innovative initiatives likely to thrive and result in the development of the market fit solution to address sustainability challenges?
So first of all, you need to be in the right market. So if there is high cost for energy, then you are in the right market. So if you come up with an innovative solution that that provide energy at a cheaper cost, then at lower cost, then this is the right market. So it's very important that your startup is in the right place. It might not be, you might not be the right technology, providing the right technology to the right market. So matching is very important. And again, there are international institutions, NGOs in place to give you such guidance. And this guidance is based also on a lot of data accumulated. So and then you have to be very agile and you have to start with the model and then adapt as you go. So do not aim to go for a perfect solution. And again, if you look at that, a lot of organization and institution, financial institution, they want a perfect prototype. And this is not.
But there's no perfect, isn't it? It's always get better.
Exactly. And the market is changing, the demand is changing. So the perfect solution today might be tomorrow then like really
exactly.
Obsolete. Yeah. So that so you know, we have to give a gap in terms of tolerance to those technologies, and we have to understand that if you invest in new technology, especially in startups, there is a high chance that it will not work. But it does not mean that it will not work forever. So you have to have a lot of support to make corrective actions to get to the right design so you can commercialize it. So by the end of the day, the objective is financial. So the company needs to make money, but the process needs to be flexible enough to accommodate for these, ups and downs in terms of readiness of the product for the market.
I think the constant evolving of the technological advancement, so it's never like what you just mentioned. There's no perfect model, there's no perfect prototype. There's always get better, because look at the whole evolution of the technological advancement is so fast. Today and tomorrow very different. So, and then we need to look at what is the latest gadget devices or whatever things can make it progress better. So that's the reason there's no perfect. There's always get better. So along the way, over time, of course, we will get better on that. Okay. There's so much pressure and emphasis on getting the green revolution happening. There's almost by any means necessary without the pause of, well, it is green, but is it as green as it should be? So why renewable energy infrastructure needs to be built using a circular economy approach? Asma?
Stephen, can you repeat the question?
Yeah.
I lost you.
Yeah. I was mentioned about earlier on what you had just mentioned about this technological advancement, and also we emphasize so much of the green revolution. So and we all, not just only this part of the world, and also in Europe, which is in the Middle East region. I suppose in the European continent, even the US, they are still doing the same thing. So there's so much pressure you can see there, and on the emphasis on getting the green revolution happening almost like any means necessary without say, okay, let's stop it. Well, it is green, but is it green as it should be? So there's always there's some kind of like questioning in our mind. So now, for my concern here, why renewable energy infrastructure needs to be built using a circular economy approach, especially in the current context. There's so much on the emphasis of the green economy, circular economy. So why renewable energy infrastructure needs to be built using a circular economy approach?
Well, because I think if you go ahead without properly spending time and energy in the design phase, it will be exactly like you said. You will just tick a box that it's green, maybe greenish, but is it really green? We don't know. I think very important is to spend time and effort at the design phase to look at the whole cycle, life cycle of your solution. Is it really green solution or not? And for that, there are also a lot of companies who does the proof of those designs, and to make sure that, and these are reliable institutions who have the right knowledge to make sure and to highlight the gaps that you need to fill. Again, it needs to economically needs to be sound. So no matter how many changes you will do to make it green, it has to, by the end of the day, to make a business sense, at the end.
Okay, integrating a circular economy approach into renewable energy infrastructure development, securing resources, and tackling materials-related environmental impacts requires a redesign of technology business model and policies, which is you mentioned that earlier on. It offers the opportunity to create a better system. So in which waste and pollution are eliminated, material consumption is reduced, product and material are circulated, and space is left for nature to thrive. So where to begin? Especially using a circular economy approach to redesign renewable energy infrastructure.
So it depends. If you have already something in place, so you have to assess what you have and then upgrade, but upgrade in a smart way with materials that are within the frame of the circular economy. So it's basically reduce, reuse. What was the three? Reduce, reuse, and recycle. Yeah, so that's very important. So you have to be innovative in terms of the material, and the materials needs to be have the lowest footprint as possible. I think this is why it's important to not only consider in any business, not only to consider scope 1 and scope 2, but very important to focus on scope 3, because scope 3 covers all these aspects. Implementing it and monitoring through a proper regulation will ensure that everybody will comply, and also everybody will be able to be competitive, because companies who have higher, let's say, a responsibility towards sustainability will spend the effort and the money to have a very, very, let's say, green product, and some others will not do. And by the end of the day, the one with the green product will end up with a higher cost, and they will not be competitive. So it's on the countries and on governments to ensure that the market within their reach is very competitive, and therefore come up with a regulation. For example, in Europe, like CBAM. Yeah, CBAM is is to ensure that any product that comes in Europe can compete with the products that are produced within Europe, with a high focus on the carbon footprint.
Okay, Asma, I think it's a time to take a look at the question posted by the audience. I have one question here. This is from the registration. How to design a sustainable resource center that meets Green Building Index GBI standard? This is a question from, I think, Mongkol. Yes, from College Matrikulasi Kejuruteraan Kedah. Yeah, thank you for the questions. So what is your point of view?
So basically, designing a sustainable resource center to meet the GBI standard involves an integrated life cycle focus process. So we need first to align the design, so site planning, building envelope, yeah. Then you look at the operational system, yeah. So the lighting, water usage, air conditioning, and then you have to. I mean, those buildings cannot stay empty, yeah? So you will have occupants in those buildings, and it's all about their experience, so their comfort, their engagement. How do they deal with energy? We're talking about Ramadan. How do we consume energy in Ramadan? So how those occupants consume energy? So most probably you need to have a monitoring system in place, and then accordingly you kind of give them guidance and to raise their awareness about their consumption. This will enable you to reduce the environment impact, optimize the resource use, and provide an exemplary space to educate and inspire. And then you can duplicate such experience somewhere else. So knowledge sharing is also critical, and it has to be at the core of this sustainable resource center as well. Yeah, duplication of the experience.
Yes, it is actually. In any buildings, energy consumption is always taking more than which is 70% for the entire building usage. So I think this is always need to refer to that. So what is the best way to deal with all these practices in the building? Okay. Right. Let's look at this again. Right. So let's come back to our dialogue. Asma. Okay. Now we are going to change the gears a little bit. We have been talking about and all the concerns that we have been discussing on the show earlier on. So I would like you to be able to share your ideas and see what other listeners are thinking about that in a little bit. So we're going to focus on the so-called the framework. So let's look at the renewable energy planning framework. How has MENA region Commissioner prepare the renewable energy planning framework, which is the Middle East and the North Africa, which is the place you are overseeing at the moment?
I mean, it's as I said, especially UAE is they are really leading in such initiatives, and very important. What we were saying before is the context. Yeah, so you have to adapt the solution right to your regional need. So, for example, in the MENA, you have abundant sunlight and wind potential. That could be run in parallel with the fossil fuel economies. But of course, they are not overlooking the fossil fuel. They are still targeting to have a green barrel, what they call a green barrel. So the minimal footprint on the barrel they produce. And by the way, looking at the numbers and data, 90% of the CO2 emission from fossil fuel is Scope 3. So how do you use fossil fuel to generate energy? So again, if we tackle this problem with a proper innovative solution, we are solving most of the issues. Scope 1 and Scope 2, which is within the control of an organization or a producer, is already being tackled and reduced, and really they are really, leading on that. Planning is amazing also. Organizing the initiative or the project into stages. Yeah, so whom do you need to engage, where, what are the milestones, how do you ensure that you are on the right path. We've been talking with Bureau Veritas, where I work right now. We've been talking with one of the subsidiaries of ADNOC. ADNOC is the national oil and gas operator here in UAE. And the VP of strategy said, I would like to know if I am on the right path or not. Where do I look against, or where I am positioned against the others? Yeah, benchmarking, very important. And he said, I understand that 1% improvement where I am will be difficult, but I'm still aiming to do that. So their let's say ambitions to reach excellence is very, very inspiring. And again, holistic strategy. It's not only about the operator, it's the country. So here, for example, last year, so 2024 and 2023 have been declared to be the sustainability year. So everything the country does is around sustainability.
Can I just step into 2023? You just mentioned there was you remember 2023? There was a COP28 in UAE. 2023. Yeah. So there was a lot of argument about this, the usage of the fossil fuel, renewable energy. The West and the East, a very different point of view. Then there's a lot of which is the people demonstrated protest at the outside of the conference and all. So actually, I was there actually 2023 also, and there was really a lot of all this heated debate because it's also reflecting to the economic input. So I'm not sure about all this framework. Would that be affected by all this economic landscape? Especially, it's not that easily to come up with a framework which is agreed upon across the world. So what is your take on that, Asma?
Yeah, there is a lot of debates, and UAE being mainly oil and gas producer or gas and oil producer it's sometimes, it's maybe in the public it doesn't look good, but they are doing all the right things to make it right. I understand the opinion and from where the people protesting because they want to make it a better place. But it's funny, everybody wants to make it a better place. It's the way we approach the problem that is a little bit different, and we have to look at it from a psychological, philosophical way. Yeah, we all want the same thing. We just have a different approach, and we are arguing how we are approaching the things instead of focusing where we are heading and how to make it a better place. It cannot be one. The answer cannot be renewable by itself, and the answer cannot be only green hydrogen. Now we are looking at the rainbow of hydrogen. Yeah, it means everybody needs all hands on deck. This is what is.
And also, you had mentioned early on from the beginning, you mentioned this of the regional perspective and also the cultural perspective as well. So you will determine how do we understand the context of renewable energy and how do we apply this into the whole economic practices as well. So, and from your point of view, right? Again, I will continue. I'd like to continue tap into a little bit deeper about this MENA region commissioning. How did the commissioner consult the public when preparing the framework, especially after the so-called, there's a strong argument in 2023, this COP28, which is a United Nations Climate Change Conference. So how did the commissioner consult the public when preparing the framework? When does the framework apply? So what type of development does the framework apply to as well?
Yes, so here in the region, engaging with all stakeholders, be it the population, the people, everybody else is very important. So they take initiatives and projects in place to assess, to collect data. Based on this data, they will act. And they will not act and then just forget, is they will reassess and monitor feedback on the go. So a couple of weeks ago, I was at the Sorbonne here in Abu Dhabi. There was an event about green building, and it was organized by the French embassy and the Sorbonne, along with the Sorbonne. And there was, of course, the government of Abu Dhabi was present, yeah. And then they shared with us all their initiatives. And one of them is the green transportation. Or they said, no, we don't want to label it green. We want to label it clean. And they were very open. They said, we don't have the answer to everything, but if you have an answer, please come to us. We are very open to listen to you. And they asked questions. So they were there to answer questions, and they even asked more questions to the participants. Yeah, and this is very humble, again, from the leadership of the country to try to keep always an open dialogue between them and the population. So, for example, recycling, they want to encourage recycling. So they said, okay, what can we do? Maybe we can go for a gaming strategy where recycling will be a game and you engage. Does it work everywhere? We don't know. They have in UAE, we have more than 140 nationalities living. So will it fit all the cultures? Yes, no. Maybe regional, maybe within the same city, you have to implement different strategies in different locations depending on the population. Where to go? Do you address schools? Do you go to companies? So they are in constant, let's say, search for different ways, and they are not afraid of trying. They really, it's brave, yeah. So I have to say, so and I like this approach. Yeah, you try, it doesn't work, you try something else, and so on. But you move on. You don't stay steady. So that's remarkable.
Yes, it is objectively. Yeah, that doesn't work. Let's move on. What is a better solution? Okay, let's look at the risk and hazards. Will having renewable energy development next door to my house, for instance, increase the premiums on my public liability insurance, for instance?
Well, I mean, there are a lot of research there. Some of them are highlighting risks. Some of them are neutral. Some of them saying that no, that there is a benefit. Again, is how do you engage with the population? I lived about almost 6 years in Germany, and there were a lot of wind farms around.
Yes, they are.
Small villages, yeah. And it's amazing how these companies managing those wind farms engage with the not the local authorities, but also the local council of the, let's say, for example, of the town or the village, and they ensure that they address all their needs. They prepare them mentally before they implement anything. They make sure that their footprint is the minimum possible on everybody. Of course, there are always risks, yeah, especially for the animals, also birds in particular, hitting also there was also I don't know whether it's based or not on a solid evidence, but it can generate noise that it is not that human ear cannot capture, but animals does. So, but they respond to those. They're very responsive to those issues, and they always come with the corrective action. Plus, they share. They share their profit. So if you for example, Stephen, you have a land and you accept to have a wind farm on your land, then there is a sharing model, a profit sharing model. So they make sure that it's again sustainable. Yeah, I'm as a company, I am not the only one benefiting, but it's the whole let's say society or the community around such farm.
Okay, you mentioned about the winds, nature. Okay, do renewable energy developments like wind turbines decrease property values?
It can, as I said, if you engage properly with the property, you make a business model where the owner of the land, for example, is making profit of it. Of course, anybody would be interested to acquire that land. But again, it's the approach of the different companies, and also based on the regulation you have in the country. So it's together, and you have also to engage the community always. This is sometimes neglected or underestimated, but it has a huge effect on the project economics, basically.
Okay, Asma, just now, earlier on, we have a touch of the startup provide all these, how does it work? What is the ecosystem to develop the younger ideas to the ecosystem. So let's look at the entrepreneurship. Ingenuity and an entrepreneurial spirit are just as necessary to fully realize the potential of the renewable energy as a technological breakthrough. Sustainable economic development is promoted in terms of circular economy. So we have emphasis on this earlier on. So innovation is stimulated, and the adoption of the RET, which is RET stands for renewable energy technologies, is accelerated through the use of the renewable energy entrepreneurship. In addition to facing numerous obstacles, such as the dominance of the established energy companies and limited access to the institutional financing, entrepreneurs in this industry also face enormous growth and impact prospects. So in your point of view, Asma, what trends can be derived from the patterns regarding the effect of and applicability in the field of the renewable energy entrepreneurship?
Okay, so in terms of trends, we can, or I can see some niche, so emerging niche. So for example, battery storage, very booming right now, and it's attracting a lot of attention. And next to it will be mining, so related to the industry. Hydrogen in all its color. There is a huge focus on green hydrogen, which I also appreciate, but hopefully in the future will be more focused on other types of hydrogen to kind of diversify the portfolio. And this is also a way of having a resilient strategy. And it's always driven around digital, let's say, infrastructure. So AI, machine learning, generative AI needs digitalization in general, needs to be around that, because that will enable also startups to grow faster, and reach economy of scale, having the right data. Again, the trend is investment. You see a lot of green funds, renewable funds, focusing on those specific niche markets. So that's really also encouraging. And then you can see also a lot of collaboration and consolidation around different stakeholders, also different countries. For example, I mentioned France and UAE, Germany and France, Austria and UAE, for example, working on regulation, sharing lessons learned on how to make it the right place for those entrepreneurs to flourish. Again, so and it seems to be the right environment here in the MENA, especially in UAE, specifically for such entrepreneurship. So they make sure that they attract those minds. I would say, to ensure the future energy mix, if we can say it in this way.
Asma, in furtherance of the mentioned and highlighted just now, what you just said, what trends arose from the terms and concepts used in the field of renewable energy entrepreneurship, and also how do these trends influence the networks and themes that are developing within it?
So the trends are, sometimes we try to call them the buzzwords. So it's how we shape the language in our perception. Very, very important. So we talk about circular economy. This is one of the essential pillars here in our discussion. Talk about net zero, decarbonization, energy transition, maybe energy mix, clean energy, green energy. So these things need to be reinforced in our day-to-day language. So what do we use? So it's all about the narrative, and also need to explain it to people. I have a very good example for such a narrative. So in a previous company I worked for, it's a German company, Wintershall, we tried to engage more around sustainability. And we did a competition for kids. So the kids are the employees' kids. And the challenge for the parents were to explain what the company does in terms of sustainability to their kids, and that their kids will represent their understanding in an art essay form, so drawing or painting. And then we did a half a day event where we kind of went through all these art, let's say, pieces, and tried to get their funny explanation. Yeah, so it was very, very challenging for parents to explain how they are impacting the environment. So I think there are a couple. Okay, yeah. So these are one of the art pieces. An interesting one. Yes. So the kids, they are there. Yes, they know what needs to be done. Maybe next one, hydrogen. Yeah, and how to make it small enough to generate to be a battery for cars. We are almost there. So those kids are ahead of us. The next picture. This is also, are we balancing sustainability with profit? Is it really the case, or we can still make it happen? Yeah, so profit and sustainability. So this is the dilemma that all businesses are trying to answer. Yeah. Next one. Yeah. So what do you care about as a kid? What your parents care about? So it's about family, making sure it's a safer place, and to make a trip around the world. In a safer way. The next, believe it or not, in 2026 there will be flying taxis in UAE, and these kids already thought about it. Like that was like 3 years ago. Yeah, so you can see where you have a sky garden buildings, green buildings. Yeah, with in harmony with nature. So they are dreaming about it, and this is on our shoulder to deliver. And the next one. This is a Picasso art piece. So everybody thought it was a person, but Kalim said it's a tree. So and a lot of people spend a lot of time trying to understand what it meant. Yeah, but I mean, engaging with people, making sure that they are delivering the right message to their kids, but also to understand and remember the narrative and the buzzwords is very important. And this exercise was really a good one for them. So parents came back to us saying it was difficult, to make it simple. And if it's not simple enough to explain, then there is something wrong. You're not understanding the whole process. So initiatives like this needs to happen a lot to raise awareness within society. This is very advanced. Thank you very much. But this is very advanced when you see all the stakeholders, all technology that you can put together to make sure that it's a sustainable future for all of them. Yeah. So.
Okay, I think these are the pictures you have shown. I think it was really good and very strong in visual semiotic. And also, I think fundamentally, according to what you said, this event is making sure that how the younger generation to be cultivated. So education is still the core. So obviously, which is good. These are how the children to be cultivated from the beginning. So like people like older than us, or probably our age, right? It's very tough. They never will understand this. So the more you told them, that they say that this is my problem, it's not your problem. But they forgot about. So we are living in the same climate, same landscape, same world, breathing the same air. So, but anyhow, I think the future is the younger generation. So they should be cultivated. I think that was a good approach and a strong in visual. I think that pictures it means a lot. Is across the world without any understanding of different languages. So visual language is always work. So which is good. I mean, this is the good activities. Hopefully, this is going to be not just only from your side, and everybody, our listener also can take this advantage to pursue in terms of this kind of activities approach to the younger generation. So, right, to continue that, how does the SDGs alignment with research in renewable energy entrepreneurship affect the sector's potential to contribute to sustainability?
Well, I think aligning renewable energy with energy entrepreneurship with the SDG will kind of reinforce the commitment to long term. So it's an inclusive impact. So embedding the SDG metrics in planning and execution is very important, because then you show alignment and it will make sense. In a lot of events, a lot of discussions, the SDG comes all the time along. In the sustainability strategy within organizations, you have to show to your client, to your partners, to your employee, to all your stakeholders in general, that what you're doing is aligned. And the common ground is the SDG, because they include, or they cover the whole spectrum. The renewable energy venture can demonstrate tangible social and environmental benefits, and accelerating the transition toward the global circular economy. So having all those stakeholders buy-in is very important, and aligning with the SDG is the right way to signal that you are on the right track. Very important.
Would it become a cliche, like some of the practices? I know that I'm not like pointing any companies or corporation. I know that, well, not all, I believe. There is a certain corporation, they doing it just for the sake of doing it. So they're aligning just for the sake of aligning. So it become a cliche. So how do you see this? Would that be, I mean, it's good to do it better than you doing nothing, just to become more cliche. So what is your advice? What is your suggestion upon this?
Oh, this is I have a very strong opinion about it. Very, very strong opinion.
I know that I have a quite a argument with some of my colleagues, and those are the green practices engineers and architects, and also some of the researcher about this point. So then I become like they have a different school of thought, So but of course, I like to listen to your point. Of course, it's never say that this point is the perfect point, but at least somebody voice out. What is your opinion on this? Over to you.
Thank you. So a lot of people, they say, maybe fake it until you make it. But I don't believe. At the end of the day, it will not make sense in the balance sheet, in your P&L, if you're ticking the box. So it will be just a cost on your P&L. And when you are in a tight spot, when the year is not good, you will remove that. You will try to avoid that cost. So you will not invest in those sustainability action. I am a big believer and a big fan of Professor Michael Porter. Michael Porter came up with, I think it's more than 15 years ago. So he said, instead of CSR is good. It's good to be a good citizen. It's good to be a good company trying to help the society. But when the times are tough, you will not invest, you will not donate, you will not invest in those non-business activities, because they are not business activities. And he proposed to go for a CSV, so creating shared value. And he says social problems, environmental problems are opportunities. We just are not approaching them in a smart way. So innovation, in a way, is not only about technology, but in a business model. So how can we make a business model profitable one around a social problem, around environmental problem? And there are a lot of companies giving examples, where they say, okay, I am ticking all the green requirements, and I'm also saving costs. Very good. So this is how smart organizations behave. And this is what is sustainable business model. It means that you don't need to, let's say, invest money in those nice to have, good for the environment things, but they will be part of your day-to-day. They will be business, let's say, imperative for you as well. And I am a very strong believer of this. So we are just limited. We have to kind of maybe have a shift in paradigm to think differently, to approach the problem differently. So we need to reframe it, basically.
Okay, Asma, fantastic. This is a great. Thank you so much for giving us the time today from your busy schedule and for sharing all of your expertise. And it gave us a lot to think about as well. It is absolutely my pleasure indeed, Asma. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. And it's not. I didn't take time from my busy schedule. I invested my time properly, and I hope I reached out to a lot of people. Thank you very much, and this is a great opportunity to give voices to people like me to see how we can contribute all together toward a better, greener, sustainable future.
Yes, indeed, Asma. We're gonna live a better future, better, greener future as well. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I mean, you're from the other, which is the other part of the world. So really, we come together and then we discuss about this and how can we progress better. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Right, a little food for thought here. Let's organize some of the things, keys, and has been noted down and put it together. Let's wrap this up. A little food for thought. The foundation of this revolutionary journey is renewable energy, obviously, including wind and solar power, which provides abundant, clean power that aligns with the circular economy principle of minimizing waste and optimizing resource efficiency, which is a process and also our topic, our dialogue earlier on, and Asma has emphasized quite a few points. As we advance further into this era, there are numerous advantages to incorporating renewable energy into the circular economy. So the deployment of the renewable energy has a positive feedback loop that stimulates innovation in circular practices and leads to closed loop system where waste is turned into an input with value. So this synergy, which embodies a significant change in how civilization produce and consume, foster economic growth while reducing environmental damage. To conclude today's dialogue, the combination of the circular economy and the renewable energy is poetic, rather merely practical. Earlier on, we talked about this, but of course, there is the progressive, which is improvement along the way. So it tells also the tale of the transforming obstacle into possibly threats into riches and using the wind and sun to power a circular universe. Asma has emphasized that earlier on. It is a monument to human creativity and resiliency, obviously. Human, amazing. We can do a lot of things as we come together with the common language. As we follow this course, let's embrace this paradigm shift with unshakable dedication, understanding that the decision we make now will have an impact on the future generation and pave the way for the planet that is flourishing and regenerating. With that, this course series organized by Academic and Research Standing Committee from Malaysian Green Building Council, MGBC, in collaboration with Solar Energy Research Institute from the National University of Malaysia, UKM, and of course supported by Mila University. If listeners are curious to know more about us or find more information, please drop me a line. Email address has indicated on the left top corner of the screen. Thanks for tuning in. Till then, take care and each other. Enjoy the rest of the day. Happy day.